segment called Keeping Up with the Committee. And today, our first guest is someone that does not need an introduction. If you are in the bridge industry, you know his name. It's Mr. Ronnie Medlock, who is the Vice President of Technical Services at High Steel. He is a member of the Executive Committee on the IBC and so much more. So welcome, Ronnie.
Thank you. That's so kind of you to say, Maggie. I really appreciate the opportunity to visit with you guys.
And we're glad to have you. So Ronnie, you know, we're headed into June almost, and construction is ramping up and schedules are getting busy. So what's been going on with you the past few months?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of busy, yeah, there's so many things going on. First of all, as you mentioned, I'm here at High Steel, and we're busy building bridges. We build about 150 bridges a year. So at any given time, there's dozens going on, from small to large. We're working on a truss up in Connecticut. We're doing some railroad bridges, plenty of highway, plenty of PennDOT. So some good stuff. The other thing is, as you're aware, Maggie, I'm involved in a lot of committees around the community, and that's a big piece of my job. People ask me, how do you find time? But actually, it's what High Steel wants me doing, and that's largely why I'm involved with the IBC. You know, the High Steel wants to advance the state of the art in bridges. And one of the ways we know we do that is by getting involved in associations like ESWP with the IBC and other associations. And so, for example, one of the things coming up in a couple of weeks is the AASHTO Bridge meeting. Will you be there this year, Maggie? Sometimes you come.
I wish I was. I wish.
Yeah. Well, I know your coworkers from PennDOT will be there.
Yes, absolutely.
Kristen will be down there, for example. So we'll be meeting in Dallas, and lots of good business for improving the AASHTO codes. That same week, I'll be headed to Cincinnati for the Bolt Council meeting. There's a little overlap there, so I'm hopping around. I'm also involved with the AREMA Committee 15. Of course, AREMA is the Railroad Association, and Committee 15 is, guess what? Steel bridges. I'm excited. I'm excited that we recently published a new document. It's called, and I'm looking at it, the Guidelines for the Design of Steel Railroad Bridges for Constructability and Fabrication. And it's interesting to think that we've been building steel bridges for 150 years plus, I guess, and there's never been a document that says this is the best way to do it for constructability. There's plenty that says these are the right design codes, the right loads, etc., of course. But what's the best way to put things together so that it will go as easily as possible in the shop, as easily as possible in the field? It's, you know, it's the kind of thing engineers really want to know to improve their bridges. And we just published this document. It's a collaboration between the NSBA and AREMA. So that's really exciting. One other thing I'll mention, I've been involved with the AASHTO NSBA Steel Bridge Collaboration since its founding in 1997, and that group develops best practices as well, not for railroad, but for highway, all aspects of bridges, detailing, design, fabrication, erection, bearings, etc., etc., etc. Really great stuff on best practice. And so, you know, again, that's the kind of thing that I do on behalf of High Steel. What I've really come to learn and appreciate is that the best way to know how to fabricate something is to talk to the shop. So when I left Texas DOT and came here, that gave me the opportunity to go out there to the shop and ask the guys, hey, how should we join these plates? How should we cut them? How do you build a haunch on a flange girder? You know, what kind of assembly is needed, is not needed, etc. Those are the guys that know. And so what I really enjoy about what I do is working with them and then bringing that knowledge as much as possible to the larger community. Busy.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, your involvement in all aspects of the bridge industry is amazing. From boots on the ground to developing different specifications and developing groups. So we appreciate all your involvement, and I also, appreciate your mentorship as well. I know that you mentor a lot of people and get them, encourage their involvement within the industry, and I'm very thankful for that. And we really appreciate all your participation on our committees with IBC. Christina and I joke around whenever we need to schedule a meeting, you send us your snapshot of your calendar, and it's completely jam-packed.
Yeah,
And we're
find
not
an opening.
sure how you do it, but you're always the first person after every meeting to start like hammering out all the action items. So you're on top of everything, and you make it look so easy and effortless. And you're just incredible at what you do. So thank you for that.
Well, very kind of you to say. Thank you. Thank you. And I would say I'm very on top of a lot of things. Hopefully, there's not too much that slips through the cracks.
No.
All right, Ronnie, I do have a question for you. What is your
Sure.
favorite part of the IBC?
Oh, the best thing about the IBC is the opportunity to network with your friends and colleagues from around the industry. Engineering is so much about what's the best way to do something, right? And getting to that is talking to others who have done it. It doesn't mean that there's not room for innovation. Of course there is. But as an engineer, or if you're going to innovate, even then you want to think about, hey, is this a good idea? Is this going to work? Or here I need to go and put a straddle cap. I've never done one before. Are there resources out there? It's great to look at books. And there's a lot of resources that are published, but there's nothing like talking to someone else who's done it. The same kind of thing we do, whether we're doing engineering or we're doing something at home, or you're making a lasagna for the first time, you're going to call somebody else who's made it and say, how do you do it? Right? It's how we are. It's what gives us the best solution. And in terms of engineering, bridge engineering, it's absolutely the same. We get over 1,000 people at these conferences from all over the country, internationally. What a great opportunity to really understand what is the best way to accomplish our mission in terms of designing and building bridges. Now, I'll also mention, I'm particularly excited for this conference coming up. And by the way, be sure to register. Registration is open. This year, I'm doing a paper and presentation with David McQuaid. Some of you guys out there will know Dave. Talk about a veteran of industry, a guy who's been in the field. He's done lots of heat straightening. And so he and I are collaborating on a paper that will be in the IBC papers, and he will present. Here's what he does. That's a perfect example of something that is more art than science. You can write down, here's how you do it. But that'll only take you so far. You have to look at the steel. How did it get bent? How was it hit? Where are we going to put some pressure? Where are we going to put heat? Really an art. And I'll say it. He's an artist. So what a nice opportunity for me to work with him. Maggie, you spoke of mentors. He's been one of my mentors for a long time. Nice opportunity to spend some time with him and hear his comments, his stories from the field of how to get things done.
That's great. I'm certainly going to be part of that session. We've had a couple projects that we've needed some heat straightening on. Not something that you wish for, but it does happen, and it is a very interesting process. I do remember being out there on those trusses and talking with the guys that were actually doing the work, and talking about what they were doing and how it works. So I can't wait to hear that. So yeah. I look forward to that for sure. So, Ronnie, one last question for you here is,
sure.
You and I have talked in the past about, how people become civil engineers, how do they decide to become a civil engineer? And a little bit about my background, where honestly, I really didn't know that I wanted to be an engineer. I just knew I was good at math and science. Mm-hmm. I really thought engineers were the train drivers, but what's your story on how you became a civil engineer?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I thought the train too. When I was a kid, I saw this movie about Lou Gehrig, and his mother wanted him to be an engineer, and I thought, why does she want him to drive trains so badly? So I had no idea. Then in high school, my parents said, "Hey, you should be an engineer, and because you're good at math." And I said, "Yeah, okay." Um, when you guys may recall that when you take the SAT, they give you can send the scores to 3 schools free. And I didn't know that. Yeah, I was filling out that form, and I thought, oh, whoa, what schools? And a friend of mine next to me said, I'll put UT Austin in there. That's a good school. And I said, okay. So I put it in. And then sure enough, I got a letter from them later, admitted. Things were simpler then. I did 0 college visits. My kids did about 9 or 10 each. But those days, we didn't do that. I didn't do that. But I got accepted and a scholarship. I said, oh, okay. So I went and I looked at the various engineering programs. And even then, I had no idea. But architectural engineering looked pretty fascinating to me. Architecture sounded cool too. And I noticed there was a lot of variety of departments in the catalog. So I went for it. I did some summer work for Texas DOT. A buddy of mine was that we played golf with his dad, connected us to that. And so, hey, working for the DOT in the summer was better than the pizza delivery job I had for sure. So I did some summer work. And then when I graduated, I worked for Texas. I started Texas DOT. I started in the lab. That was good, but then I found out about these other guys who were going to South Africa to inspect some steel, and I thought, wow, that sounds cool. So I went over there and started spending time in the shop, and I really fell in love with it. It's really challenging and compelling work. I got, that project finished a long time ago, came back to Texas DOT, got involved in steel bridges there, and then started getting involved in efforts to try to standardize practices. So I did that work for Texas DOT almost 20 years, and then came up to high steel. So it's similarly to what you've said, Maggie. I sort of fell into it in a way. Engineering, I think, is a great area to work. Challenging, especially if you like to do puzzles, you like to solve problems, doing practical things, perfect area to go into a career. And when I do career talks with kids, high school and college, I tell them, find something that at least sounds interesting. You can start. You may not stay in it for your whole life, but it'll get you moving on a path. And what I think what happens with most people is you kind of find your way to that kind of thing that really excites you and you enjoy. So that's hope I can encourage a lot of people to consider this field. It's certainly compelling and rewarding. I've enjoyed it. Good question.
I would agree. I've enjoyed it so far as well. So, well, Ronnie, we really appreciate you coming on with us, and we appreciate catching up with you today. And we look forward to seeing you at the IBC. And make sure everyone else get registered, and we will see everyone next time.
Yes, I look forward to seeing everyone out there as well. And thank you for your leadership on the committee, Maggie, doing these podcasts and helping us have such a successful conference. And thank you as well, Christina. What a great manager. You make it so easy for us committee members. We just slide right through. Really looking forward to this year's conference.
All right. Thanks, Ronnie.
Mm-hmm.
We'd be lost without Christina for sure.
Absolutely.
I don't know about that.
Oh, we would.
We know.
So great. Well, thanks again, and we'll see everyone next time.